Hi, I'm Marianne Connolly, editor of Austin Woman magazine, and we are here after our March cover shoot with Irene Williams, who is the CEO of 21st Century Technology. We just had a wonderful time with you on the photo shoot. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Things that the writer Terry Schexnayder had sort of talked to you a little bit about in the piece, but she also had some fun stories that you had shared with her, and she wanted to perhaps elaborate a little more on them. And one was your memories of Brownsville, where you...
I have a lot of lovely, very warm memories from growing up in Brownsville, especially my early days. And my mother came from a family of 7 kids, and her mother had 3 sisters, and those are my great aunts. They were in their 60s, and they lived in a little house, and it was the gathering place for our family. So it was this wonderful place where there were 3 women, had this very beautiful sisterly friendship bond, and it's dinners at their house and afternoons at their house and gatherings which were always focused on food. They carry a very important place in who I ultimately became. One story is Molly, she'd pull out a nickel from her bra and she'd say, "Here," and she'd press it into my hand. "Here's a nickel, and do whatever you want to with it, but whatever you do not tell anybody else. I gave you this nickel. Do not tell any of those other children, and do not tell your mother. This is our little secret." And as a child, you really believe that, and you really feel special. So we'd take that nickel, we'd walk down to the bakery, which was several blocks down, and for a nickel you could actually buy a mollete. Do you know what molletes are? That sort of puffy, sweet bread, Mexican
really
sweet
good.
bread.
Yeah, we have them in San Antonio. Yeah.
Right. So there's a lot of wonderful memories that come from Brownsville.
Wow, that's a wonderful story. Thank you for sharing that. Further along in your life story, we obviously had learned that you came to the University of Texas and you went to undergrad here, and then you also went to law school here, and I was mistaken in thinking that you also met your husband here. But you did not meet your husband at UT. Can you tell us a little bit about how you met and where that was?
Sure. We met actually in Kuwait. And how did we both end up in Kuwait? It's sort of a crazy story. First Gulf War, I was practicing law in Los Angeles, and the law firm won a contract to represent the government of Kuwait in its damage claims against Iraq for the invasion. Immediately thought, this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to make a difference in a real important and significant way, to be part of something that is much bigger than who I was. And that was an immediate instinctive reaction. So I was lucky enough to be one of the 10 lawyers that was chosen to go, and we worked with accountants and engineers. During that year, there was a party one night. None of my friends wanted to go, but I convinced a lot of people we've got to go. We went out there. It was under a Bedouin tent. There was shawarma. It was wonderful. Everybody was dressed in their Arab gear. And one gentleman caught my attention because he was not Arab and he was in, the Arab gear. The first moment that I laid eyes on my husband, I will never forget. It's seared in my memory. And I remember his profile, and I remember he was in heated debate with somebody, and everything about him, everything about the fact that he was in Arab gear, the way he was speaking so passionately, his profile, everything said to me, he's someone I need to know. So that's how we met, and I walked up to him, and we were both so taken aback that he was from Texas because he grew up in Austin, and he also went to UT, and so here we were, basically from the same place, yet it took us both going all the way out to Kuwait to meet each other.
Wow, that's a great story. We also know that, speaking of your husband, he also is Vice President of Product Management for your very company, and I understand that if you're CEO and he's Vice President, that might mean that you're his boss.
So internally, he actually reports to someone else.
Okay.
We did not know if it was going to be a good idea, but here's what we did know is I was good at what I was doing, and he's fantastic at what he does, and we really needed his expertise. And he has a lot of autonomy, and I think the key, I've heard a lot of husbands and wives work together, and a key to success for us is we have tremendous respect for each other. He does something that I could never do in a million years. And he's very, very good at it. And I have different talents and skills. And so we don't compete with each other. And we both sort of sit back at times and watch what the other one does, and we marvel at it. And you know, sometimes, I've never told him this, but sometimes I'll catch his eye in a meeting and I'll see the expression on his face, and it almost makes me want to cry, because I can see what he's feeling, which is, I know her. Wow. Right. And I married her. And I'll say conversely very often, I feel that as well. I will see something that he creates, or I'll read something that he's written, and I just think, how did I get so lucky? I picked him, and he picked me, and I had no idea that was underneath him. So it can definitely go, it can definitely not go well, and you definitely, as with any marriage, you have to be mindful of that, but it's working very well.
Well, and it sounds like the company's benefiting tremendously from both of you being there. So
I hope so.
it's wonderful. What a beautiful way for that to work. That's what every couple should aspire to if they're actually ever going to work together.
Thank you.
Well, thank you. Is there anything else that you wanted to tell? Is there something that you do in your downtime that nobody knows about that's really fun? That is how you kind of decompress. If you're not training for a triathlon or taking your daughter to Girl Scouts or teaching Spanish, is there something that you do to relax that is sort of an indulgence?
Oh gosh, I would say that the TV shows that I watch are completely trashy. That is my escape. It's silliness, it's mindless, it's just all about girl nonsense, you know.
Any favorites?
Oh gosh, my daughter can tell you, she watches some of them with me. Keeping Up with the Kardashians, The Bachelor, what's the other show? Anything on E! I mean,
right.
Anything that's on the E! Network, whether the Fashion Police. I love watching the award shows.
Yeah, me too.
Well, and you know, that's a little bit, I used to go to the award shows. You know,
when you worked for Sony.
Right, when I worked at Sony and I was in the entertainment industry, I used to go to those shows. And I used to be, now I was never obviously on the red carpet for being the central person.
But you're locked down.
Yeah, and so so I love that. I mean, that's in my blood. All that theater and drama that's on TV. So that's my guilty pleasure.
I think we got some of that out today in the shoot. So I hope you enjoyed seeing the photos. No, it was really fun. It was wonderful to meet you. Thank you so much for doing this.